The Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone agreement is now signed, nearly a year after the initial memorandum of understanding and 2 delays. What does this mean for businesses? To discuss this, we are joined by Alvin Lee from Maybank Singapore and Kirsty McMillan from Forbes Mezars Singapore. What changes can we expect in Singapore's business environment following the signing of the agreement?
So I think the intention behind this agreement is really to attract more foreign direct investment into Singapore and into Malaysia, as businesses seek to use the terms of the agreement benefits behind it. Potentially, this could increase precious talents in both countries and also heighten costs in countries. Over time, we might see a bit of a reassessment within Singapore's business environment as companies who are already here look to see what they have in Singapore versus what they have in Malaysia. So potentially keeping the RHQ, those high value functions, management functions in Singapore where they have ready access to talent, whilst at the same time moving some more labor intensive activities to Johor to utilize both of the countries.
I do agree with Kirsty. I think there'll be a lot of benefits that not just Singapore, but Malaysia as well as the regional economies will benefit from. If you ask most of the businessmen in Singapore, the biggest pain points are the cost of doing business. So having access to the hinterland that is Johor, with more abundant land, cheaper labor, even cheaper utility, I think that's going to really help the Singapore businesses. I would expect JS-SEZ to also attract investment from beyond the domestic players in Singapore and Malaysia.
How will the agreement impact competition between businesses in Singapore and Johor?
It is quite clear in the announcement that there will be more complementary plans rather than competing plans, right? So I think it's quite important for both countries to stay true to that philosophy, as long as we don't duplicate each other's area of strength. I think there will be a lot of synergy. So I think it's quite, again, quite clear for everybody to see that Malaysia will focus on perhaps the lower value, the mid-value manufacturing sector, while Singapore will continue to dominate the R&D as well as the financial services sector. So if we stay true to that, I think both economies will benefit tremendously.
I do agree with Alvin. I think the intention here is not Singapore and Malaysia competing with each other. But I think we might see a new competitive partner, an element here, which is the haves and the have-nots. So those that have the incentive, those that can operate in the new zone versus those that are not. So those that have the highest cost don't take advantage or see a cost disadvantage compared to other businesses. So we might see more of that competition between different businesses, but not between Singapore and Malaysia.
What specific measures outlined in the agreement should businesses leverage in order to maximize opportunities?
So here I'd say to businesses, focus on the 3 T's, that being tax, talent, trade. So for tax, there's a 5% incentivized rate, corporate tax rate that businesses can apply for if they have qualifying activities. From a talent perspective, we have that reduced personal tax rate. So your staff can actually benefit from being in the zone as well. We have foreign worker passes, making it easier to move labour between Singapore and Malaysia. And Singapore is committed to doing training and development for staff. On the trade side, we have the single transshipment permit and digital clearance process, which essentially means that we should see goods moving from Singapore and Malaysia between the two more quickly, more efficiently, and to lower costs.
I can't agree more with Kirsty. I think over and above the 3 T's, I would urge all businesses to leverage on the knowledge center, the facilitation center. I think a lot of thought has gone into designing this SEZ. I'm aware that both countries have been engaging businesses and banks as well in identifying the areas where assistance can be levied to the businesses. So please reach out to the government agencies for assistance.
Thank you both very much for sharing your insights with us today, Alvin and Kirsty. Again, our guests were Alvin Lee, Country CEO of Maybank Singapore. Thank you, Alvin. And Kirsty McMillan, Partner for Tax at Forbes Mezars Singapore. Thank you, Kirsty.
Thanks, Simon.
For more news, please visit sbr.com.sg.